Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Facebook event today. We are here with Workiz, here with Didi, the CEO of Workiz. We're excited to talk about Workiz, and we're excited about how we're starting to work together and about some great things for business owners about how you guys can continue to be more successful in the 6 essential time hacks for you as a field service professional. So we're excited to have you, and thank you for coming on and meeting with us today, Didi.
Hey, Brand, thank you very much for hosting me today. It's a pleasure to share some of the insights we had in the last few years with everybody today.
Yeah, no, we're super excited, and especially to pull from knowledge that you guys have found from professionals and how we can both help each other's businesses and industries continue to learn and grow.
Amazing. So let's get started, guys.
Yeah.
So just right before we start, a little bit about who we are and who I am. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have a few companies that I founded. One of them is a $1 billion company called Sisense. I've been a locksmith 20 years ago in LA. So I've done my share of field service for quite a time. I'm not great at this. That's why I'm in hiding, I guess. And I'm in my part-time, I'm a growth hacker. I'm doing tests on time management. I'm trying to be more efficient with my business and my life. And I'm going to share some of these, insights with all of you guys today. Another thing that is important for me to mention is why now? Why time management is important right now? The past few months, I guess since March, we're all in a strange situation. There is a huge shift to digital all around the world. And, COVID is one thing, but the reaction to the result of COVID is making a lot of businesses struggle. And our goal today is not just to give you time management hacks. We're going to give you a survival kit. We're going to give you the ability to look at your business, make it more efficient, make more money, and of course, survive these crazy times or what's going to happen in the next few months. Nobody knows. But as a business that can survive, you're definitely going to thrive later on. So, with this long intro, let's get started. On the agenda today, we are going to talk about what is Workiz and why should you care. What is our mission? And of course, a minute later, we're going to talk about the actual reason that you came from today, 6 essential time management hacks for any field service. I'm going to start the presentation today with a little bit of, it's a question you don't really need to answer. It's a food for thought. Being a locksmith in the 405, I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like an ongoing traffic jam. 2 hours each way, it doesn't matter where you go. And, being in the car most of the day and doing some crazy stuff, I cannot share with you. When you're stuck in the car, you have to do some things. But in general, think about how many of you spend more than 50% of your time on the road. Think about how much time is that and does it really worth it? And that's basically what we're going to talk about today. Just to give you a fun fact, Americans spend about 17,000 minutes driving each year. That's crazy. Okay? And Brad, I heard that you have a story about that, right?
Yeah, it's interesting, you bring this up. Jill's office was born with a person in the service industry in their truck. My brother, who does concrete for a living, we were driving and, he was very busy at the time and his phone started ringing. And I was like, why aren't you answering the phone? Like, this is your business. And he's like, well, if they want my business, they'll leave me a voicemail. And I was so flabbergasted by that comment. I have a sales degree. And that's what I graduated, and I just couldn't get past people not answering their phone, the basic concept of answering. I know that he was busy then, but guess what happened 4 weeks later? He was like, man, I need work. And I'm like, if you would have answered your call then you would have had work. And that's how the idea of Jill's office was born, was sitting in a truck, driving, listening to someone not answer their phone call. And that, as a consumer, that's what people want. And then so that was how we're trying to solve the problem of service professionals answering their phones.
Right. And Didi, one thing you touched on there, you're talking about just how COVID's kind of shaking up this whole world, and just, they're needing tools like Workiz to stay organized, to stay, fast and current with their clients. On the same time, people are hungry for connection, where they are more trapped in their homes. They want sometimes, some of them just want it fast. I want to go on the website. I want to be able to book myself. Others, I want to talk to someone, and they're like hungering for that human connection, just because we've all been a little starved of it the past few months.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always say in the high-tech industry, I mean, if you have a lead, call them right now. I mean, any second that you're not going to call them, they're going to call somebody else. I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit more about it in the next few slides.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's move to the next slide. I mean, in general, I'm not trying to sell you Workiz here. It's a field service software. There are many kind of field service software. Eventually, you need to pick your own, the one that is most right for you. But in general, Workiz main differentiation is the fact that we're a communication and field service software. Basically, we connect all the communication, whether it's an email, a text message, phone, and so on, to the field service software. And with us, you can keep track of jobs, scheduling, invoicing, technician clients, of course, and phone calls.
I think it's great. I think that's where, as a service professional, that's where a lot of them struggle, is that communication. Especially, you just want to communicate, and your people you're doing work for, they just want to be communicated to. How's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And all in one place. That's perfect. That's awesome.
And as you mentioned, I mean, our goal is to turn those service professionals into business managers. I mean, you're doing your job bloody amazing. I mean, let us help you with the, being a better business, look more professional. These are the things that Workiz care so much about. Again, let's shift into the actual reason you came for today, guys. And that's the time management hacks. First, the first thing I want to discuss today is the fact that, guys, when you're in the car, you're not making money, period. Okay, any second you spend in your car, whether you think you can, do everything altogether, you're just losing money. And our goal is in this slide is basically to allow you or to help you to plan in a better way. Many of you have their schedule set a few days ahead. Many of our customers, the on-demand customers, basically everything is on an ongoing basis. But in both cases, you need to plan your driving routes into your schedule, meaning that whenever you have more than one job in the same day for the same technician, make sure they're doing it in the right way. Look at the traffic, understand that they're not doing what we call the ping pong. So you go from job A to job B and then to job C again next to job A. This doesn't make any sense. Don't be afraid to call your clients and reschedule. Maybe they can have a better timeline for your route. Remember, every second you spend on the road is a second you're not doing the job itself. You can also, if you work on a larger scale, I mean, different areas, and we had it in San Diego and even in LA, where you have the East LA and West LA regions, okay? In many cases, it is worthwhile to ask your technician to even move their housing over there, to rent a house in the location over there, specifically in the on-demand. And you'll figure out very soon that they're making more money and you're making more money. And surprisingly, the customers are actually happy because somebody got to their place sooner. That's very important. With us, with Workiz, by the way, you can have what we call the metro areas. So you set up a different area. I mean, the West LA, East LA, doesn't matter. And the system will allow you to schedule only the technicians that are available and are set to this location only. So this is a huge time saver for any person that is over the phone.
Hey, Didi, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think what you have there is incredible, because we work with a lot of different softwares and they're all very strong, but I have actually not seen very many that have really tried to solve this problem, which when we talk to business owners, they're constantly having that issue, just like, how do I make sure that I'm being most time effective management with like travel between my jobs? So the fact that you've provided some tools here with your technicians and things like that to be able to best like optimize your route is incredible.
Yeah, thank you. We took all the secrets. I mean, we've been a locksmith shop. The founders of the company have been a locksmith in San Diego for a long time. And we took all the secrets to that helped us to succeed to a few dozens of technicians all around the West Coast. The only way to handle this amount of technicians was to implement automation within the processes. So you cannot possibly help, give a dispatcher a way to schedule. Okay, where this guy is? This the West Coast? Is this the? I mean, where is the job location? If it's done automatically for you, it saves a lot of time. Once you schedule faster, you get to the next call faster, and so on and so forth. Many of the guys that we work with are working with subcontractors. And I mean, if you see jobs coming from a distant location that you usually do not serve, consider hiring a subcontractor, guys. I mean, maybe you're going to get a little bit less revenue, a little bit less profit, but at least it's better than zero. Okay. If you trust somebody or just, start working with somebody, then reflect, call the customer. How was this guy? And if he's good enough, start giving him more and more jobs, and you'll find out that you can expand your business even without hiring these people, as your employees. That's very important. Another thing I want to talk about, I mean, this is what we call the Uber feature. Uber surge pricing, they're doing it because there is more demand. And believe it or not, people are in their houses these days. This is their castle, okay? And if you have a broken lock, if you have a broken fridge, you don't wait for it to fix. You don't go to work to eat lunch like I do right now, okay? You just call somebody and want them right now. And if there is a rush hour, they're willing to pay more money for that. Don't be stuck on a single price unit, okay? If there is traffic, tell them there is traffic, I can get to you, but it's going to cost you $100 more, okay? Worst case, they're going to say no. Usually my mother-in-law tells me, she taught me that. You already have a no, okay? So you might as well ask and do that, okay? Of course, adapting to new times. I mean, we talked about it in the COVID, but everybody today are using Zoom. Everybody. We even do this webinar on top of Zoom. Think about how the world changed in the last 6 months and adapt your business to that. We just added a Zoom integration into our software, allowing you guys to do estimates, to do support calls, just to have this one-on-one conversation instead of driving the bloody hour each side. I mean, I know that if you're a contractor, you need to do a heavy lift estimate. Don't do that. Okay, go and meet the client. But in many cases, if you're doing a junk hauling, or if you need to do just a very quick estimate, ask the client. I mean, do a Zoom video. Ask the client to walk around the pile of junk and tell them, okay, that's going to be $250. You just saved yourself 2 hours. And guess what? These 2 hours you can do another job and another job. And when in scale, when you have 5 technicians, oh man, that's a bottom line by the end of the month.
Oh, so Didi, how does that work? So it's integrated now. So you have a mobile app, correct? They can kind of. So is it on the mobile app then, or just, hey, I want to do a Zoom call with this client, and it sends them an invite automatically?
Absolutely, and more than that, once the call is done, the recording is being sent to the app, so you can review it later on if you want to do a thorough estimate.
That is awesome. I love that. Genius. Adapting with the times.
So innovative.
Yeah.
Really, really. I think, and it's great to see, just like you guys are doing, a lot of businesses are adapting, and I think that's a great adaptation that you guys have done.
We're really trying to help the service industry, or in general, small businesses in the US, to thrive. This is what makes the economy grow. It's not the big businesses, guys. It's you guys, okay? And we're going to do anything we can in order to help you to grow, but you need to think differently. We cannot think with the pen and paper anymore. It just doesn't work like this anymore. Our goal is to be the easiest tool in the world to achieve a job in the fastest way. But this is how you make money. If you schedule a job, and if your customer thinks that you did a great job, they're going to review you and going to get back and back and back. This is it's a good cycle. This is what we're trying to create here. And of course, guys, if you're really busy, and that's the most important thing in this business. I mean, Brent, you mentioned it before. I mean, if you're busy and you're busy answering your phone, don't just let it be. I mean, don't let it go to your voicemail. Hire Jill's office or alike, okay? Because you think about spending this, small amount of money while you're losing that much of the money. If you guys are advertising, don't let these calls go to waste. They're gonna call somebody else, okay? Just have somebody pick up the phone, and of course, call centers like Jill's office is an amazing solution for that.
And just like you're saying, if you're busy now, there's a time where you won't be busy, and so people will wait, to have the right work be done. If, you have made sure that your company has, shown forth that you're good at what you do, they'll wait for having it done right.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what we call the pipeline. If you don't have a pipeline, you don't be surprised that you didn't got a good month. I mean, create a pipeline and follow up on the pipeline all the time. Oh, I called you last week. How is it today? Maybe it's a good time to do your yard or whatever. Okay, that's crucial.
Yes, definitely.
Next topic, real quick. Always be prepared with the right equipment. I mean, I've been a locksmith, and this locksmith business is still alive in LA. And I was speaking to my uncle. He runs the business, and I asked him, how many times a week, he has 5 tracks over there. How many times a week your guys are getting into a job location, job site, and they are lacking the key, they are lacking the right lock? And he said, well, for each track, at least twice a week. So what do you mean? You get to the job site and then you go back to the hardware store to buy the stuff and go back? So yes. So how much time does it take? Well, in LA traffic, at least 2 to 3 hours every week. So okay, that's crazy. That's nuts. So that's what we're going to talk about right now: equipment and checklists and everything in between. Okay. Let's start with the fact that if you're driving to a job site without preparing before, you basically miss a lot of time. Okay. Be prepared. How can we be prepared? The first thing I would do is basically to figure out if my track is stocked with the most common things. How do we do that? Use a tool. I mean, Workiz has an inventory add-on, which you can track all your inventory. You basically add all the inventory per container, per track, per warehouse, doesn't matter. And every time a technician runs an invoice, when an item is being added into the invoice, it's being subtracted from the inventory. Guess what? Once the inventory is low, you get a notification. Inventory low, pack it up, go buy more stuff. But this is, again, there are many tools. You can do that even with a Google spreadsheet. I don't care. But just be more digitized in that sense and understand how many items you have in each truck. If you don't do that, don't be surprised that your guys are driving everywhere. I mean, it's not just the gasoline guys. It's the time that they spend in their truck. And it's the time they're not doing an extra job. It's thousands of dollars every week that is being lost just because you don't track your inventory. Another thing I want to talk about it today is don't try to save a nickel and buy one car key instead of 10 of them. If you know that you're using 10 Toyota keys a month, make sure you buy 20. Make sure you buy 30. You don't want to find yourself going back and forth to the hardware store, even if it's being delivered to you with UPS. It doesn't matter. When you have it in the truck, you can get a phone call from a Toyota owner, and you can definitely say, okay, I see that I have the Toyota key, I'm on my way to you. If you don't have the Toyota key, the guy will call somebody else. And this is a good case scenario. A bad case scenario is that when you find out yourself in the middle of the highway, looking into your trunk and look if you have a Toyota key. That's crazy. You know what's going to happen later on? The guy's going to be pissed, bad review, and you lost the job. Okay, and in most cases, you also lost the pay-per-click that you're advertising. Okay, that's not just the $40 pay-per-click. It's the driving, the job, etc., etc., etc. That's crazy. Don't ever do that. Okay, buy an extra inventory, but to do that, you need to track down what's the most common things that you use on a day-to-day. Of course, track your inventory in real time. This is given. I mean, if your technician just used 10 Toyota car keys, you need to know that you're out of car keys, okay? And you cannot take the next job with Toyota before you bring more Toyota keys. Another great thing that we see
with that real quick. So I actually, my father's a CPA and owned a software company where he owned a for a very successful point of sale management inventory system. And managing your inventory, for as boring as it seems, can be really important, because also you can know where you want to market to. If you really see, oh, if I have using 10 Toyota keys a day, well, guess what? Maybe I just want to do more Toyotas. And, you know, because that's what's coming in, you know, and so I think that's fantastic, you know, because a lot of times we sometimes don't see that out of sight, out of mind, but knowing where, okay, where's the work coming in, what we're using, and where to really make it.
Yeah, that, again, we see it all over the place. I mean, whenever somebody does not hold an inventory list of any kind, they find themselves, and I know about guys that their equipment, their inventory is worth much more than the truck itself. However, they do not track what they use and what they don't use. I mean, it's crazy. This is how it should be done. I mean, this is how the new businesses, the growing businesses are working, and you definitely need to do that. And believe it or not, it's not that expensive to track it down. It's actually saving you a lot of money. Another thing I want to discuss today is about, you know, preparing in advance. You are hiring new technicians, and these guys are great. However, they were never trained to run a scale business. Prepare checklists, and a checklist can be, you know, 1, 2, 3 every day. You must get the car up and running and make sure that your tank is full and so on and so forth. That's the basics. But what about check your inventory in the car? Do you have all the equipment? Do you have the driller? Did you forget the driller again? And if you have this checklist, it's always making life much easier. On top of that, by the way, at Workiz, what we've done it in every job entity, we created what we call a task list or a checklist. So you can understand, okay, this guy has a Toyota or I don't know, it's a construction site and you need X, Y, and Z. Make sure you have it in your truck, and the technician should check it before they leave to the next job site. Preparation makes a faster job and basically allow you to make many more jobs in the same day. So make sure you do that. By the way, Ben, do you encounter any kind of businesses? I mean, you guys are making a lot of phone calls for these guys. Did you hear any stories about guys that are going to a job site and without the right equipment, they need to go back and forth?
Oh yeah, that kind of thing happens all the time. And you know what, the thing that's coming across to me as you're going through these points is, you know, with this whole discussion today, not only is this making your whole business work more efficiently, and you working more efficiently in your work and then having more time for your personal life, but it's also just creating that better customer service experience, because the more efficient you are, just as you mentioned previously, the better response you can get to the customers and the better experience you're giving to them, because we'll have people call in and, oh, maybe they, you know, for appliance repair and they didn't have the right part. And so then they're going to have to reschedule, come back another day. And then something happens with that. And so, and they get so frustrated if it's not just kind of an all-in-one kind of shot, let's get it done. So the more you can prepare to be ready for the different types of situations you're going to be in when you show up for the service call, just the happier the customer is, the more likely they'll give you a good review and the more likely they'll come back to you again.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. The last point that I have to say to talk about today is basically the automation. I'm a big fan of automation and efficiency. I mean, again, I'm a growth hacker in my life. I love to meditate. This is how I keep myself calm every day. I mean, I'm going next to my house, and there's a beautiful beach. But I found myself every day get to the location, you know, the quiet location, and making my phone silent, and then turning up the volume a little bit for my headset, and then opening my application, my music application, and so on and so forth. And then I realized, why do I do it every day? I mean, we can automate that. So nowadays, there is an application in the Apple iPhone. Basically, whenever you get to a location, it pops up what we call a workflow. And with a single click, I'm doing all these things without touching on anything else. So I'm not going to get interrupting phone calls and so on. And this is exactly what I want to talk about today. Stop doing the 1, 2, 3 every day, guys. I mean, it's a digital world. If you're doing 1, 2, 3 that can be digitized, please do that. I mean, think about the routines you're making every day And don't think about if it's going to be a human touch or not. Your customer will not notice it, and you know what? They might appreciate even more if things are being done automatically for them. And I will give you some examples of how to handle it with Workiz or with other tools. Again, it's not a unique feature to the Workiz system. Automated client notifications are crucial. So for instance, with Workiz, when a technician gets close to the house, basically there is a pop-up in the mobile app, clocking. Okay, in the same time, whenever he turns the job status into in progress, the client gets an auto notification, I'm on my way to you. Okay, the idea here not to get into the routine of sending them texts or calling them on my way, be there, and so on. Set a system to help you to do that with Workiz or with other tools. Okay, in our case, we have 24 hours notification, 2 hours notification. You can set it, you can customize it as you want. But when the client gets these kind of notifications, they're not going to forget to be at the job site when you arrive. Okay, and believe it or not, it's happening a lot of times. We actually saw a 30% reduction in job cancellation just because of this feature. Okay, so use that. It's cheap and it's easy at your hands. And of course, there are many ways to use auto notifications and other ways to track the technician workflows. I mean, clock in and clock out. Okay, this is how you know how much time they spend on the job. It helps you to prepare. You suddenly see that the job of, I don't know, cleaning one room takes about 2 hours, and cleaning 5 rooms takes half of that. I mean, per room, of course. Why? I don't know, because you're in the job site and so on and so forth. When you realize that, you're actually starting to schedule shorter time slots for 5 rooms apartment. It's always in the data. You need to track down all these things, track your clock in, clock out for your technicians, whether you pay them for that or not. But when you do that, you suddenly realize a lot of things about your business, and you can, again, make it much more efficient. You can understand how many time slots you can have for each job type, how many people you need to hire. Okay? Are you fully booked, or basically it's what we call a hidden unemployment? Okay? Crucial to track your time. Another thing we love to present, and we see other companies using that, is an automated system for invoicing. I mean, yes, you need to create the invoice with the items and so on, but don't you hate it to go to, over the weekend and go over the unpaid invoices? That's crazy. Stop doing that, guys. I mean, you can use Workiz or other systems, but with Workiz, you can go on and mark all your unpaid invoices, and at once they're all going to get an SMS, a text message, or an email, or both. Okay, with a one click, hundreds of them, and believe it or not, people, if you're going to bug them, they're going to pay you eventually. More than that, why do you take credit cards over the phone? Just send them an automated link. A credit card link, and they're going to pay you automatically. I know that you hate to chase customers for money. Don't do that. Let the system chase them. Okay? You'll find it much more appealing. I can promise you that. Another thing I want you to do is to start tracking your ads. I'm not sure, Brent, do you see a lot of traffic coming from ad sources like AdWords and Facebook, etc.?
Yeah, we do. We see quite a bit come in, both from inbound and outbound from that. So, it's good to.
And people are investing a lot of money in advertising. This is the most expensive by far, as far as I see it. Maybe except of salaries. But I was surprised to see how many of you guys, are advertising in Facebook and Google. You take half a pile here, half a pile there, and you don't do a simple ROI. Which half is working good for you and which half is not. And this is the time to optimize that. What we do at work is we allow you to buy phone numbers and basically tap them, add them into each of the ads, each of the ad sources, and basically giving you the entire ROI funnel. From how many calls you got, how many calls each dispatcher got, how many jobs the technician got, what's the cancellation rate, and what's the profit per each ad. If you track it down, you suddenly understand that, I don't know, Facebook, for instance, doesn't work well for you. And Google is more expensive per lead, but it's highly profitable. So stop doing Facebook. And of course, Facebook, Yelp, doesn't matter. Each business is different. You need to know your business. And only once you analyze that, That's the only time you know the secrets of growth towards your business. We have a guy that is, I mean, in somewhere in the middle of the US. They're doing flyers and Google Ads. Guess what? Flyers are working much better for them. Much, much better. How did they know that? One phone number for flyers, one phone number for Google advertising. Suddenly you see 90% growth in flyers, and they stop doing any Google. Again, flyers are much cheaper to handle, even if they're hand delivered. Last but not least, guys, listen to call recordings. I mean, we're doing it a lot in the high-tech industry. We're not doing any kind of big brother. It's not for that. But call recordings are crucial to understand if your technicians are doing the right justice for your business. I mean, in order to grow, customers need to understand that you're a professional. In order to be professional, you're hiring young guys that are not that of a customer savvy to start with. They need to learn the craft of the business, not just how well it is to pick a lock or to build a house or whatever. They need to know how to answer a phone call, how to upsell. And the only way to do that is to track it down. So with Workiz, you can actually record all the calling, order all the calls, dispatcher, and other systems, and other personas within your business. And in general, what we figured out that once you do that on a routinely, I mean, I'm doing it on a weekly basis, about 2 hours of listening to my team's calls. You suddenly figuring out what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, what are the successful guys are doing that the unsuccessful guys are doing, and teach them and train them. Okay, again, not a big brother. And you know, as a byproduct, in some cases, unfortunately, many of the business owners are actually finding fraudulent activities where a technician that doesn't really care about the business, not talking nicely or trying to take the job on a personal basis. Of course, you can forward calls to Jill's office. I mean, they're doing the best job. They can sell much better than you in most cases because this is what they do. This is their job. And I'll definitely recommend, I mean, if you're overwhelmed, give it to somebody else. They're going to do a much better job than you. That's it from my perspective today. I mean, moving to your side of the presentation, Brent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, just to talk about recording, obviously at a call center, we record our calls, and we have people employed just to listen to calls, and it's really important to listen to those calls because we get things all the time we can hear and see, and that's how we improve our employees each and every day. So I think it's fantastic. So
sorry, just here, wait a second. We're just trying to pull the thing back up. Here we go. So, and you kind of led right into one of the first points we have about effective time management, and that's all about delegation. You can do everything, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So if you think of yourself as this guy right here, we'll call him Jack. So he's got these two big buckets, and Jack is a business owner. When he starts out his business, he has these big dreams that, he's going to change the world and maybe, whatever financial goals he has through whatever this product or service he has. So this hill here represents, the peak represents like that goal that he's attaining. When you start your business, you have some vision, some dream in your head of this is what I'm going to do by creating this business, whether it's, helping people in a certain way, supporting your family, whatever it may be. So the goal here is for Jack to get to the top of that hill. These buckets represent everything required to do in your business to make it up to that hill. So when Jack starts out, I can conquer the world. I'm going to do everything. I don't need help. I can do it all on my own. Well, as Jack starts walking up the hill, this little big, huge water bottle here, this represents all the things in his business that start to add weight to his buckets. So, we pour a little bit of water in for, having to answer his phones. We pour some water in for having to deal with invoicing. We pour some water in for communication. He's trying to do it on his own. I got to text my clients when I'm on my way. Pour some more water in for just the work itself. I got to getting out and do the jobs. Pour more water in for trying to optimize, the job route. Pouring more water in for accounting. Then, he realizes he needs some employees. So hiring, training, water. These buckets are getting heavier. And you can see as these buckets get heavier, he is less effective getting up that hill. He's slower getting up because he's got this heavy weight he's carrying. And all of a sudden you realize as this business owner, this is pretty heavy. I can do all these things, but I can't do it all effectively to best get up that hill. And so what Jack finally realizes at some point is I've got to help me carry these buckets, whether they're, holding it with me, whether I'm giving them a piece of it. Hey, you take this portion and you help me carry that up. He's ultimately going to get up that hill faster to whatever your goal is in starting that business by getting help. And that's when you realize the power of delegation and that it actually is going to help you progress at a faster level and at a faster rate. It can change your whole business. And we see all the time, it's hard to let go though. As business owners, you want to make sure everything's done perfectly and right. And, can someone else do it as well as I can? And sometimes they can do it better. As you mentioned, Dee Dee, if they have expertise in a certain area, they can do it better. But it's getting both the systems, a powerful tool like Workiz and all the things that it can automate, all the things it can do for you that takes that load off those buckets of you manually having to do it yourself. That's huge and powerful. So delegate by getting software, and then also delegate by getting other services or other people who can help you do things. And so this is one of our clients here. He talked about how using Jill's office, he wished he did it years ago. They've taken a good amount of stress off me. You don't realize how much work and time it takes talking on the phone to schedule customers and answer questions. So it's one less thing I have to do now. So just the relief they feel on one less thing to worry about, one less ounce of weight to carry up that hill is huge.
And as I've talked to a lot of business owners, even myself, as I started my business and the things that I did, you want to be able to tackle the whole world. You started this business, it is your baby. And we understand that. And all business owners understand that. But delegation will be the key to your success and growth. If you want to grow your business, you have to delegate it at some point because you won't be able to do everything. And so that's why, be able to create those processes in your business to say, okay, I can do this, someone else can do that. Because if you're not delegating, you're working in your business. You're not working on your business. We hear that a lot, but what does that really mean?
Right.
Working on your business really means that you can have the growth and success that you want, that you can see from an outside perspective, that you can have, many multiple things that you can do. If you're working in your business, you're the one who's doing all of it. You're doing the hiring, the firing, the invoicing, the call answering. And it becomes just like Michelle said, overwhelming. And so to have that success, to have that relief, to be able to lay down at night and to actually sleep and not, start to have the thoughts run through your mind. I mean, most business owners, what I'm talking about. You're laying in bed and all you can think about is what you have to do the next day, what the things you did, what you didn't do. And delegation can allow you to sleep, believe me, and to relax and be able to spend time with your family.
Well, and to do the things that you are best at even better, because, as those buckets get so heavy, it slows you down and it drains on you of being able, whatever your core competency, whatever you're so good at, you're not able to do it as well if you're having to do a million other things too. So it helps you better focus on why you started business, what you love, and whether it's the trade or whatever it is that made you start, being able to better focus on that. And it helps you so balls don't get dropped. So a lot of things, obviously we deal with phones, and that's a great thing to help delegate out. I know what a lot of our clients will do is they want to be able to answer the phones first, which is, great, to be the one there. But then if they can't get it for any reason, to have a backup. And so making sure that you delegate, even if you want to do a thing, a piece of your business, make sure that if for some reason you aren't able to do it to the full capacity that needs, that you've got someone else to help carry that bucket for you. So I wanted to show a recording. This is This is actually a real live call that came in yesterday. And I mean, it will tell the story itself. So I'm gonna, let's see, sorry, I think I need access to share it.
Oh.
You know what, let me see if I can play it over here.
Let's
See if the sound will work. Sorry, 1 second here. Here we go. Okay. There's always got to be a technical glitch, right?
That's right.
Anyway, sorry you can't hear that call, but basically what happened on the call is this guy called in to a landscaping company. We were helping taking their overflow, so we answered for him. He called and he said, I literally have called 40 companies and you are the first person who's answered a phone. 40. And I don't think he was exaggerating. And then he said, and I even left a message on all their voicemails and not a single one has called me back. And that was blowing my mind. I mean, we get those type of calls all the time, like, oh, a live person, I'm so grateful. But that he actually literally called 40 and not a single person called him or even called him back. So don't be that business, don't be that person that your weight's so heavy that you're dropping stuff along the way. If you can't, you can't handle it all, which none of us can do it all, make sure you delegate that out. So Brent, you want to tell about the survey we did?
Yeah, so we're getting ready to go to a window cleaning convention. And so we wanted to see, okay, well, we do the phones, obviously. So we just found 100 random window cleaners across the United States. And we just called them. We had one of our Jills call them, and 73% didn't answer. And only 27% answered. And the interesting thing that's actually not on here is of that 27% that actually answered, it's just like, they didn't always ask for our name. They didn't ask for our phone number. Only a small percentage actually got all the information, because you as business owners, sometimes you're just really busy and sometimes forget to ask that important information, but 73% of those people didn't answer. So it was just so surprising to see what was happening in that window cleaning industry.
Right. And I mean, and that's not alone. Obviously it happened to the landscaping. We've done the same thing to carpet cleaners. We've done them to all these different industries. And we find a similar pattern that just that simple concept of answering your phone just isn't happening all the time. So again, delegate the things, get software that can help you delegate, get systems and services and people that can help pick up all those pieces.
And guys, I have another interesting statistics about it. I mean, we are running millions of jobs every year. 70% of the jobs are starting with a phone call, even with all the digitation today, chatbots and booking widgets and so on. 70%. If you're not answering your phone, you're missing 70% of your market.
That's a cool stat.
That is a good stat. It's interesting. COVID. As we've been sitting down, we're even talking about it, has brought out the people want to talk to people. I mean, we've been staying home and all these other things in the past 6 months, different things. And as we're getting the ability to go back out, just the ability to talk to someone has been so nice. And we found that we do a lot of outbound calls as well, not just inbound. And that when we were calling outbound, that people didn't want to let us get off the phone to make the next one because they wanted to talk to someone. And that human connection will always be there. Even though we have all this automation, talking to someone is just so nice.
Well, you need both. That's the thing. You got to marry the two. You got to marry the automation. You have to have all the different ways, because some people do prefer text. Some people prefer email. I know you provide an online booking link. Some just want to book themselves right on your website, get Workiz booking on there. So if they do want to do it all on their own, they can. But then, I mean, obviously a huge percent or chunk still do want to talk to someone. So make sure you aren't losing out on any of those customers by making sure you have all those, all the different ways in a good system within your business to make sure it's taken care of, so nobody gets lost. So yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so our next point is to avoid time wasting clients. So an interesting thing about every business, again, so you're looking at Jack, and by the way, there's a little reference to Jack and Jill by that. I don't know if anyone caught it, but except for instead of falling down, he's trying to climb up the mountain, and he's got Jill, he can get up there a lot faster. So, But as when you start your business, usually a lot of times you're like, this is going to help everyone. Everyone needs my service. Everyone needs to do this. But as you start to go along in your business, the smart business owners realize that if they can focus in on their top clients, that they can actually get to the top of that hill faster and grow faster by, hyper focusing on who your ideal client is and servicing them. And ones that aren't as ideal, to either not market to as much or even to say no. So we see this happen all the time. For instance, like with a lot of times you'll deal with time wasters who they want to get a bid on something. You take all the time to go out there, send one of your techs out there, they get out to the job, and either they're just kind of not really serious about it, or your pricing is way out of their budget. And it's just frustrating because again, it's like that driving time you were talking about, DD. It's just wasted time that you can't invoice for. Unless you have, in some of our industries, they have a service call fee, which obviously helps with that. But with a lot of times, it's just wasted time. So if you really look at, I love how Workiz has so much tracking and monitoring with your marketing and everything like that. If you really look at your numbers and see, who's coming in, where am I getting these people, and then which types of people are bringing me the most business, and really focus on those, it's going to change your whole business. One of our carpet cleaners, he did this, and he kind of looked at all of his stats and everything and realized that, most of his clientele, the high end ones, were coming from the certain neighborhood within his service area. So he kind of hyper focused marketing on that area. And because they were higher end clients, he literally doubled his prices overnight. Just like the next day, this is my pricing, and he put it out there, and his business just took off, because they were willing to pay it. They wanted really high quality, even though he was performing the exact same labor, just because he was focusing on this certain area in his service area that was willing to pay those higher prices. He started getting them. He was doing less work, but making more money. So a lot of times that can be a way to just expand your business. We also have people, just to help eliminate those time wasters. Because you can customize your instructions of what you'd like us to do on the calls. They'll have us put in information there about a minimum. So for instance, we have a deck cleaner who he had a minimum of $7,500 for his deck. So when people called in, we were super friendly and helpful to everyone, but we did let them know, hey, just so you're aware, our minimum is $7,500. And if they were looking for $1,000 or $2 deck, then they kind of filtered themselves out. Or for instance, we had a appliance repair client who he realized that he really didn't want to focus on parts because it just wasn't as lucrative for him. So he only wanted to focus on repair. And so some people call in just looking for a part. They didn't want anyone to come and fix it. They just wanted a part. And again, we just would let them know that actually we don't do that. So sometimes by saying no, it actually leads to more yes.
And it's been interesting as we've kind of talked to a lot of business owners about this, that when they really look at their business and see where they're successful at, and they cut out the portions of their business that take that time, that they become more successful. In fact, one of our favorite books that we read is called The Pumpkin Plan, and it's about how to grow the most perfect pumpkin, and how sometimes you have to cut other pumpkins off the vine to create a bigger pumpkin. We at Jill's office, we did that this year. With cutting back some of the things that we were doing, but we became more successful at it. And so when you really look at your business, find those things that, even though it does bring in a small amount of income, if you focus your time and energy on the things that bring you more income, you'll receive more income.
Right. I know for us, when we started out, we were just, everyone has a phone. Everyone's phones are ringing. Everyone needs us. And we do service tons of different clients, but we found that it was in the service industry where it was usually the most painful if they missed a call, because the person's going to go to the next person in the Google listing to call. And so that when we hyper focused on who could benefit most from our services, again, we were better able to serve those clients because we were specializing in that kind of thing. So figure out whatever it is for your business, specialize in that or focus on that, and you will grow usually faster.
Yep.
Okay, so our last point here that will let us progress is to realize that multitasking is a myth. Okay, so we have Jimmy here. So he is trying to multitask and not doing it great. I mean, he is kind of doing it, but that fish food is going everywhere. So what a lot of business owners, that they get caught in this trap of thinking that I can do two things at once. So the term multitasking, it started out as a programmatic term for computers, and it didn't even mean what we think it means. So multitasking just meant that on a computer system, it was doing one task and then the other, one task and the other, so fast right next to each other, but it would be one and then the other. So it was actually sequential. But it then became, a general term we all use, and we reinterpreted it to mean that we can do two things at once. But the thing is that the way the brain works is it can't focus on two things at once. So see, Jimmy's focusing more here on the ball. He's not really focusing on the food. So it's going everywhere. If you're doing two things, but they don't both require your focus, like, if I'm talking, am I waving my hands at the same time? I can do two things at once because I'm not really having to focus on waving my hands. It's automatic. Or, if you're eating while reading, you can read and focus on the book because you're not really thinking about eating. So if you're doing two things, you can do two things, but you can't focus on them both. So we have a little analogy to do. You want to show them, Brant?
Yeah. So as you're sitting down, hopefully not in a minute you're driving, take your right foot, put it out straight, and I want you to spin it in a clockwise circle. Okay. Then take that same arm. Keep spinning it. Take the other arm in front of you and try to do a figure eight and see if you can do it. No one can do it. I at least know that I know can do it.
You can't do both at once. It's like your brain can't focus on both at the same time.
And you know what? There's a lot of people that say, I can multitask. I am the king of multitasking. I have said that in my life. My employees have told me that I'm not a good multitasker, even though in my mind I say I'm a good multitasker. So, I know a lot of you are saying, "Oh, okay, well, I can do it. I can do it." But sometimes you just can't.
Well, let me show you this part. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As a growth hacker, I mean, we have, at least in the high-tech industry, many people who are very addicted about their time. We have a term that's called deep work. We basically have time slots every day that we place to do the most important thing that day, and nobody can disturb this. I mean, it's just you and the task, and nobody else can. No phone call, nothing else. You should try and do that and see how you can be excellent at something, and it's pretty easy task to do.
And you probably get more work done during that time block than you would in a whole 8, 10, 12-hour day. Yeah, I believe it. It's the distractions. It actually, again, it slows us down. It's that heavy weight. It slows us down by multitasking. So here's a little chart to represent it. The more things that you're doing, the quality of your work goes down. So not only do you get less done, it takes longer, but the quality, it's not as good because you're distracted and your mind's more than one place. It can take 40% more time to multitask than single tasking. So again, that's where delegation comes on. That's where the automations you talked about, Didi, comes on. All these things we were talking about, if you can get all these processes within your business, you can focus more on the current task at hand that's most important for you to do, and so that you can do it even better. So again, this happens all the time with your phone. You think I can get my phones, like that's not a problem. I can answer all my phones. Well, I'm just going to show you how that actually is usually pretty impossible. For instance, if you're on another call and then another call comes in on top of that, how do you talk to them both at once? You either have to rudely put one on hold, answer the other call, help them while the other one person's waiting, or tell them, hey, hold on a second, I'll be right with you, finish up with the other person, come back. So you can't talk to them both at once. And it's a little bit rude to both people involved. Okay, we're all humans. We all have bodily functions. At some point, you're going to need to use the bathroom. You're going to take a shower. It's impossible to always be able to answer the phone. One of the first clients that signed up for us, I remember he had us just be his overflow. He's like, yeah, I'll get my calls, but just in case I miss it, you guys answer it. So the first call that we took, he was in the shower. And so that's why he missed it. We took the call, we booked a $5,000 job. So that shower would have cost him $5,000 because if we hadn't answered it, I'm sure it would have gone to the next person, listed. And so again, you can't, unless you have some sort of crazy water, thing on your phone, it's hard to answer the phone at all times. You're on a roof, or you're cleaning windows on a ladder, or your hands down a toilet if you're a plumber. You can't always be answering the phones in all these situations. It's just not possible. We have some clients who work where there's part of their service area has really bad cell reception. So they'll sign up for us just like, hey, I just need to get the calls when my phone doesn't work. Again, like if their phone's not ringing, you can't answer it if your phone service is dead. What about if you're on vacation? So most business owners don't really understand what vacation means. They just think that vacation means you bring your laptop and your cell phone to a different location, maybe with some sand, but you're still working. So again, you can't multitask and really, what are the words? Like de-stress and spend that quality time with family if you're constantly on your phone. We joke all the time.
I'm sorry. There is something very wrong with not separating personal and business life.
Yep.
I mean, we learned it in the hard way. We didn't do vacation for a long time, but at some point we realized that it's not just a vacation and the family that is being heard of it. What do you do when somebody calls your personal phone? Do you say, "Hey, what's up, man?" It's like I'm doing with my friends, or "Hey, this is Joe the locksmith. How may I help you?" This sounds much more professional. And to the customer on the other side, he doesn't care you're on vacation or your personal phone. He's calling a business right now. So respect that and let somebody else answer the phone, or of course, separate your phone system from your personal phone number.
Yeah, we encourage people to do that all the time. It's time, if your personal phone is the same as your business phone, it's time to break up with your phone because it needs to be separated. You have to find that balance, and the phone will break that balance.
And I love that Workiz provides that, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know of other softwares that provide that you have a phone solution right within the software too. That's incredible. It's just like everything you need to run your business effectively right in one system. And you can have the calls go through Workiz to, all your texts or however call flow you want. And then again, we can just be that backup for the times you're in the shower or whatever it may be. There's again, another one of our clients, she just said, this is the first family vacation in years that we have actually enjoyed. And that's so important. It's so important. You are one of the greatest time hacks is just to take time off, and having that time to recharge is going to help you go faster and harder and more creatively and more effectively in everything you do. Because when you're running on burnout, then you just can't get things done very efficiently.
It's so true. It's so true. And so, as you just have to sit down as a business owner and really, just like you said, Didi, plan out that time of when you need to do and what you need to do, during your day. And don't be afraid to sometimes cut things out that are not as important and move those to a different time. Do the important things first and make sure to spend time with your family. That's really what you need to do. Right.
And so, and just one more example here of, we talked about how it's just impossible to multitask and answer all your calls. So wherever you are again right now, just think for a moment, what's the average cost of one of your jobs? Whether it be 200, 2,000, 20,000, whatever it may be, have that number in your head. And even better, if you've got a phone, pull out your phone and put that number in your calculator of whatever your average job is. So the average business owner misses 2.5 calls a day. I think it's 0.5 just because it's an average there. Obviously, we already talked about, you just can't possibly, it's not humanly possible to get every call. And if you don't have a backup system, you're going to miss calls. So if you're average, you're missing 2.5 calls a day. So whatever that number was, for this example, I'm just going to use $400 as my average job. So every day I'm potentially losing $1,000 just by being average and missing a few calls a day. That's $1,000 that I'm potentially losing because I'm not grabbing those customers. Take that over a week. So multiply whatever number by 5 now. So over a week, in this instance, you'd be losing $5,000 potentially, just again, by missing a couple calls. Take that same number and now multiply it by 4. Over a month, $20,000. Over a year, you're looking at almost $250,000. And over 5 years, $1.2 million just by being average, missing a couple of calls a day. That's how much potential money you could be losing off your business. So again,
and it's interesting, one of our clients, when he first signed up with us, he's a high-end carpet cleaner. He actually did this. He actually increased his sales by 200 and what was it, $220,000.
Yeah, over a year.
Over a year.
Just by
having
backup.
Just having backup, someone answering his phone.
So it's pretty incredible. I'm sure they can throw the same numbers about what's happening with all the different systems and things within Workiz. So I kind of think, the point today is just get these systems in place, do these things to help you work more effectively, help you work more efficiently, and then also to increase your bottom line and to have better work-family balance.
But Dee Dee, it's been really fun talking with you. Any last thoughts or comments before we wrap up today that, you wanted to share, or any gems you have?
I came here to share my insights and actually learned a few from you guys. So thank you very much for hosting me. I'm going to implement some of your tricks in my day-to-day. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and same here for the things that we definitely learn. I have some great things that I want to take away and talk to our team about and to continue to improve our business as well. So, right. But thank you so much, Dee Dee, for meeting with us and being with us. And we'll talk to you soon.
Amazing.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
You.
And just a quick note, we have some links here if you are interested in learning more about Workiz. They're offering a discount to any Jill's office user. I think it's like $50 off the first 3 months. Very generous. Thank you, Dee Dee. So check out that link if you do, or if you want to learn more about it. And then same with Jill's office. We got a link there for you as well. So
check it out.
All right. Thanks so much.
Have a good day. Bye-bye, guys.
Hey, bye. Thank you.